Welcome back, everybody, to Grim Dawn, and this is the How to Survive Ultimate series with your star, Nadala, the 72 Witch Hunter. So, we're going to start off with a bang here. I'm completing my offensive portion of my character. This is it. The character pretty much isn't going to change too much unless I get some more legendaries to augment my offensive ability, but as I told you guys in last episode, most of my items, except for my 2 weapons, that's it, they're all devoted to defense. You know, I've chosen all these items just for their defense, you know, their ability to increase resistances, increase health, increase armor. So, now for the offense, Abomination, the tier 3 poison and acid, and also it's kind of an interesting anomaly because it does chaos. It's also the tier 3 for chaos. The Abomination gives us Tainted Eruption. So, I'm going to link this to Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike has a small recharge on it, but with Tainted Eruption, I think it's going to be a really big hit, because Shadow Strike will allows you to pretty much teleport through other enemies to get to your enemy. I use it quite often just to hit bosses for a large portion of poison damage, as you can see here on the Nightblade. I have maxed out Nadal's Justifiable Ends. It's one of my big hitters. You know, we have 12,000 poison damage, plus it deals a huge amount of crit damage if I manage to crit with it. And my offensive ability for this character is pretty high for Elite. Now, on Ultimate, it's going to be much harder to crit enemies, but I'm pretty much trying to prepare for this by overstocking, Cunning in our offensive abilities. So, that's our offensive stuff. So, what we're going to work on this video is pretty much just getting to Ultimate. I'm going to go ahead and teleport here to Act 4, because that'll signal our readiness. That's a good acid test. If you can kill purple mobs, in pretty much your in Act 3, Act 4, without any difficulty, you're pretty much ready to go to Act 4, or sorry, to Ultimate difficulty. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. When we work on through, we're going to go through, make sure we earn our levels. We're going to get to Ultimate and kind of see where we're at. So that was Tainted Eruption right there. You guys got to see that. Pretty damn cool looking. So this is interesting. Tainted Eruption, this is something I didn't know. Tainted Eruption has a 51% chance on attack. I put it on Shadow Strike. If we put it on Whirling, let's see here, I'll do Belgothian Shears. It has only a 15% chance on attack. So there is differences, it looks like, based upon what type of attack you put it on. It seems to be modified by the skill recharge on it. That's interesting. Alright, re-equipped Scorpion Sting to Belgothian Shears. Let's get going. So something else I'm using to make this character extra strong is this is a Courageous Tincture. You can buy these from Homestead, Act 3. They give you a 10% boost in defensive ability and 20% increase to armor all the way across. So check this out. We'll pop that. Check out our armor. Just went up a whole bunch here. So that's really useful if you're in a tough situation, fighting a boss, a whole bunch of mobs. So as you can see here, these guys are Aether. So my Aether is at 67. It's good enough, for this act, but for Ultimate, it's not going to be good enough. We're definitely going to want to increase that. I'm hoping to do that through the Outcast. She's in Act 4. She makes it pretty easy to get resistances, especially Aether. She has a lot of armor augments for your chest and legs. Alright, so we made it to Astrakarn Road here in Elite. That means we pretty much just have to go to Astrakarn Valley, then we can go to Fort Icon, and then we are just within spitting distance of finishing the game. Alright, so here's an acid test for us. Here's Ragrathar, the purple mob. Let's see how we do. I'll pop my potions here. This is me at my best, pretty much. We're dealing decent damage. He's not taking forever to kill. I am having to use my defensive healing abilities, so that's nothing bad because they're renewable. No potions, that's okay. Even if you have to use potions, though, that's okay. As long as your health isn't going do, like you're losing half of it in one hit. That's when you got to be worried about your character, and that's when your resistances aren't that good. You need to really go back and maybe do some of the easier stuff for a while. You can persevere, but it's not going to be fun for you, and you are going to die often. And whenever you die, and you get that mental setback, anything that reduces your mental energy to play the game, you're gonna put it down easier, and you don't want that if you want to actually do well in the game. So here we go. This is pretty good pretty good. I'm feeling very confident in Elite, and I think we're about ready to go into Ultimate. Now, once we get into Ultimate, we're really going to have to work doubly hard on making sure our resistances are good. You want to probably come back to Elite several times, to make sure your resistances, like I said, are just top-notch, as best as you can make them. Because even then, even though I have like 41% of Vitality, it's not that great. But that's only half the fight. Making sure that you fight right in this game is going to be huge. You want to be able to basically only take on small portions of the enemy. Like it's very easy as a melee character to get surrounded, in which case, even if you have a lot of defensive abilities, you're probably still going to, be in a bad situation more often than not, especially in Ultimate, where the mobs hit a lot harder, a lot faster. There's a lot more of them too in Ultimate than in Elite or Normal or Veteran. So make sure you do that. I would say the other thing is with bosses, go in, take a few jabs at them with like your hard-hitting abilities, but as a melee character, don't just stand there and swing on them endlessly. You want to like back up, and make sure you're not standing in anything that's on the ground. Those are just kind of the basics here to think about. Also, pay attention to your debuffs. Like right there, I had a Frostburn dot. On bosses, those things will hit you so hard. So it's important you back off, give the dot time to run out, and just, kind of hit and run. Wait for the boss to do a wind-up animation for his like next attack. Go in, maybe hit him once or twice, like some abilities, and then go back in, And then once you know that they kind of like are in between their cooldowns on their abilities, like they've used a few of them, feel free to go back in and pummel them for like a good 3-4 seconds. That's kind of the fighting style that seems to be pretty safe. Now, once you get super decked out with like all your all your legendaries from Ultimate and everything like that, you can kind of break a few of these rules for most of the mobs, except for the Nemesis mobs. But we'll talk about those more later when we get to them in the Crucible and whatnot. So see, these guys are hitting me with cold and vitality, and it's definitely hurting me pretty bad. And these are just like the yellow mobs. So imagine how much more so a boss with vitality damage could wreck me. It's a sign that, this is just a warning sign. When you're getting like that close to your health, that halfway mark, that your defenses are they're not where they need to be. So I really can't stress that enough. That's what you need to be paying attention for. It's not okay, for you to be dealing like a bunch of damage and not being able to like stand, around. Because if you can't at least go toe to the toe with the boss and absorb at least 3 hits from them, without dying, then you have no business fighting them. Sad to say, but that's kind of how it works out. And I'm going to prove all this to you guys, because I'm a weak-ass character. I have 2 legendaries. They're both low-level legendaries. They're level 50 and level 50. And those aren't that great, for going into Ultimate. Like, they're enough to get you started. Welcome to Fort Icon, everybody. Fighting a bitch load of mobs. See? Look at the Aether resistance. You can tell I'm suffering. Maybe I was also standing in something like right there. Just always be paying attention. Don't stay in one spot too long. Look at your dots. See, I have a poison dot on me, it was for a couple grand every so many seconds. And these guys are Aether too. So see, there's a fire dot. Lucky for me, these guys aren't throwing anything on the ground. Also, there's Nova effects where they throw 4 different projectiles. All 4 of those projectiles can hit you if you're standing point blank to them. So melee characters, be careful. You can just die. Like, super easy. That's how Xanter and the Immortal gets you. He'll hit you with like 30 like chaos projectiles at once, and then you're toast. Another word of advice here. Whenever you get the standing for it, always buy all the recipes. Most people do this, but just in case you don't. Oh, and I'm an idiot. You can always see at the bottom. If it's red, that means you've already learned it. And I did. I was just doing that for an example, but that was a dumb example. If you're missing any gear, I always recommend taking a look at the faction vendors. They offer very decent greens. Like I would love to buy like some pants, but they don't offer really anything for that. Unfortunately, just chest pieces. So let's take a look at what's going on here with the character. He's taking a lot of damage. There's a variety of damage here. Like there's some fire, there's a lot of Aether there. These are mostly Aether creatures. So now it's really just hurting a lot right there. So again, 67%. I was also probably getting hit by Novas, standing in like some ground stuff here, not probably playing to my best. But let's see how I do against Lucius. Again, another purple. Use a really good acid test here. And watch, I'm standing here. Okay, there's a ground effect. He hit me pretty hard. Oh, and see, like, there's his other ability here that's a kind of an effect, and that's fire dot. See? That hurt really bad. So again, we'll pop our ability. We'll kind of hit him a little bit. And I think we're okay. See, but right there, he's hitting us for quite a bit, and that's a fire dot effect. Now, thank goodness my defensive abilities grant me a lot of health regen. That really sets, you know, dots off. But yeah, always don't get tunnel visioned. And yeah, whenever you see those projectile things, oh my gosh, just that's why you want to, like, you know, duck and weave. You know, you come in, you hit them a few times with your heavy abilities, and then you get right back out, because otherwise, I mean, all those could have hit me, and that probably would have almost killed me, if not killed me. Again, once you have maxed resistances, you know, like if I had maxed Aether, I could probably stand there and take that Nova, be okay. But since I don't, and since most likely you don't either, you know, with your character, you know, if you do, that's great. But if, you know, since you most likely don't, man, you really just need to be careful. You don't want to die. You know, that's just the biggest thing. That's like a huge setback in this game. You lose experience, you lose time. You know, plus, like, it makes you doubt, like, your ability to build a character. So just take your time with it and have fun. Alright, we should be 83 now. Thank you, Creed. I need to head to the Necropolis at once. Tainted Eruption has reached level 2. Let's take a quick look at that. The tier 3 abilities always advance so nicely. Oh yeah, that is good stuff. Pretty much almost 1,000 points in damage here. I think maybe like 800 points, but that's good. So, like I was saying before with augments on the last video, you really want to make sure that you know, you get the best ones. Now, the cool thing is the Black Legion and the Outcast both have great augments. So, you know, you'll most likely want to, like, keep both of them happy for your character, unless, you know, it really just doesn't matter to you. Like, the Outcast is, like, really the one that matters, or, like, the Black Legion really is the one that matters. But most of the time, it'll be both. So, you're going to go to here, and we were friends, and friends we shall remain. What's wrong? I'll gather these for you. So basically, you lose a tiny bit of rep with the Black Legion, a tiny bit, so never become enemies with her. Here they are. No, but I'd like to hear it. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I'll acquire the Fang for you. Oh, I have the Fang. Here you go. What do you need? I'll acquire the Tome. Anyways, then what you can do is you can talk to her Drudge. And see, you can only buy stuff from her once you're honored and revered. But her revered, oh my gosh. So here it is. The Outcast Warding Powder. 10% Aether resistance can be applied to all armor. She's pretty much the only one that offers this, where it can be applied to all armor. So, I mean, if you're looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe even 7, you can augment your belt. So yeah, that's 78 Aether resistance right there, if that's what you're missing. You can also do fire and cold with her elemental scales, or, you know, cold and lightning. So that's why the Outcast is pretty important for augments. Meanwhile, the Quartermaster for the Black Legion will give you dual resistances for Aether and Chaos. So I know if you're really lacking in both of those, it's pretty good. So we're doing pretty good for Chaos, but Vitality and Aether, you know, is kind of where we need to pick up. So he also gives you Pierce and Poison resistance if you're missing on those. And if you can get away with it, which I might have to, I would say Oleron's Favor is very worth it. The 10% chance of 200% to all damage, that is a multiplier on top of all of your damage. So if you're a crit heavy character like I am, this can result in some huge crit numbers for you. Now the physical and bleeding damage, you know, again, you know, if there is better choices for, like, you know, just average damage, which might be better for you. But this sort of thing is just really good, and it gives you Pierce, but we're good on Pierce. So, since we're at the end of our character building here, I'm just going to pump Physique for 2 reasons. Extra health, and also we're going to need probably close to 950, 1,000 Physique to wear some of the heavier armor. And then for our final points, I'm just finishing off Possession for, again, a couple reasons. It gives me damage absorption, 6% off the top before even anything's calculated is awesome. It also gives us poison and acid damage, which is great. It also gives us chaos resistance, which is something we do need, and then skill disruption protection, which is awesome. So let's take a look at what's going on here. I'm having trouble fighting this obelisk here. There's a lot of Aether stuff on the ground. These creatures were hurting me kind of bad. So, again, see, look at that. See those health drops right there? I was standing in something. So, these guys are kind of difficult to fight. That and the brutes, the mobs are surrounding me. So yeah, you don't want to just blindly sit there and fight and hope things are going to be okay, or just try to run away whenever your health starts dropping. Make sure it's a little more calculated than that. You know, go in, stab them a few times, you know, hit them a few times with like your heavy weapons, and then kind of move around. Movement is one of your most powerful assets in this game. You see, like, I'm surrounded. You know, like, it's a hard thing to remember and to follow, but it will save you in the Crucible. It will save you in Ultimate. You know, let your damage do its work, especially since most classes, most builds have some form of dot, whether it be like, you know, in the form of, you know, burning damage for fire, electrocution for like, you know, lightning. So, yeah, poison for poison, obviously. I mean, everything has their dot. Alright, so round 2, let's see if I learned my lesson. Let's see, taking a little bit of damage. So there we go. See, that was a lot safer, a lot better. Now this guy's still going to come up. There we go. Pop our armor ointment. See, that didn't hurt as bad with our armor ointment on. There we go. So as far as level requirements on heading into Ultimate, really there's not a particular level. It's all about how you're dealing the damage, you know, how you're feeling. And also how you're surviving. You know, if you feel like, man, it's really easy for me to die, stick around in Elite. You know, just do a little bit of the Crucible maybe. That's the easiest way for you to get the loot, you know, that will get you the resistances you need. If you're missing the augments, then just do the quests, do the bounty tables. I mean, honestly, just doing the quests alone, you won't even need to do the bounty tables. You will get more than enough rep. But if you hate doing the quests, you don't know where they are, you know, you don't want to be bothered to like look it up, do the bounty table. It's pretty damn easy. You'll still have to know where some of the mobs are. You know, but you can still track them down. And usually the quest, you know, icon for, or the quest readout for it is going to, you know, tell you where it's at. So you're not going to be, like, super lost. So if you're missing crafting requirements, Horus up here, the Cursed Smith, he will actually trade and exchange the rare crafting components for you. So you can turn hearts into blood. He can turn brain into hearts. Yeah, he can turn blood of Cthulhu into brain. Alright, here we are. We're in the necropolis itself. And I'm going to work my way towards Ligurian so you guys can... so you guys can see pretty much how that boss fight's going to go. And then we'll step into Ultimate here. Alright, so look at my health. See, I'm having to heal a little bit more. They're hitting me with Vitality. That's fire damage, so you can see I resisted that pretty well. But those guys do a lot of Vitality damage. That's really hit me hard. But we made it through. Alright, here we go. Crypt entrance. Our big test, our first one will be fighting Bloodlord Thelonous. He's a tough one, and he specializes in cursing your vitality resistance into oblivion. So, and then he'll also hit you with some more chaos and vitality-based damage. You guessed it. Cool thing is, let's just say you are getting your ass kicked by vitality damage, like I most likely am going to be. You can still head into Ultimate because the first couple acts really don't do a whole lot of vitality damage against you. They're more like elemental based, Aether, so you're gonna be okay. But past that, you're gonna start encountering the Cult of Cthulhu like a lot more, along with the Chthonic entities. So you'll want to back off at that point. So this guy's gonna be a piece of cake because he mostly does poison damage. As you can see, we're gonna work him. Well, see, he has poison damage. And so do I, and he also has a lot of poison resistance, so this is going to take a little bit. Whenever you encounter mobs like this, just skip them. They're not worth fighting. Honestly, you just run to your next area, run to where you can kill mobs. I mean, it's all about you getting the most use out of your time. So don't feel bad you can't just kill mobs, you know, that have like a high resistance to what you're doing. It's just going to happen. So yeah, some of the mobs now are cursing me down to like 8% vitality resistance. It's mostly the leeches, as you can see. Yeah, they're fucking me up for that crap, and that's only when you're near them melee range. So range characters, you'll have no problem with it. Hopefully, as long as you can kite pretty well. Alright, so here's Bloodlord Thelonous and then Ligurian. We're going to use the Death Whisper Ointment to increase our vitality resistance by 25%. Hopefully this is enough, but again, he's going to curse us into like it hurting really bad. See, like look at 41%. So that took 20% off. So again, hit him and then move. Because otherwise he's gonna like lay down all sorts of like AoE like dot effects, bleeds, you know, some chaos damage. See, I almost died right there. But if we had any less defense, if we didn't pop that potion of resistance, we would definitely be screwed. But our damage is there. Look it's not taking very long to kill him. Our dots are doing their damage. Everything we designed this character to do offense-wise is working. It's usually just the defense part that's the hardest in Grim Dawn, in my opinion. There we go. XP awarded. We're ready to go in. Let's fight Log. The Edge of Madness. So we'll pop that. Pop our little honey ointment for some extra health regen. Alright. So sometimes Log you can get away with stuff, but like he'll have AoE effects that kind of chase you around a little bit. And then suddenly he'll hit you with like Doom Bolts and some other crap. Yeah, he's an asshole. But, again, we have Chaos Resistance, which is pretty good. We just need to be careful. Get away. Start hitting him again. Oh, shit. We might die. See, right there, that was a little bit too dangerous. Pull off. Wait till your defenses can come back up. If you have those. So, I mean, a lot of characters, you know, you only have like one defensive move. I'm lucky and I have two just because of like my build. But if you put some defense into your devotion abilities, it won't be that bad. So yeah, we're just going to wait. Let's go back in. Pop it all. There we go. Ooh. Get out of there. Shit. Just hit and run, that's all you can do. Get back in there. Save your potions if you can, to where it's like you really need a break. My health is not yo-yoing that much, you know, like not going back and forth. So there we go. We got him. We now have access to ultimate difficulty. So overall, our character is ready. We were able to fight Log. We didn't die. If you die like once, you know, and you're just like, okay, I was being over-aggressive, or even twice, you know, you're just like, yeah, I was just really pushing forward too fast, you know, that's okay. You can still go to ultimate. But at this point, if you found your health was being chunked in like half, it's most likely because of, you know, vitality or chaos, because those doom bolts can hit you really hard. The doom bolts do like chaos and vitality damage. But I would recommend, you know, just getting your defenses to where, you know, they're around like this range, 60 to 80%. Now, I'm not there with vitality, but like I said, if vitality is your only weakness, you know, or if, you know, chaos is like your only weakness, you can still go ahead. But if your elemental resistances, poison, pierce, or bleed, or suffering, you're going to have enemies Axe 1 through 4, you know, that are just going to make hamburger meat out of you. So it is worth it to go back and get those. And it shouldn't be that hard for you either. So let's collect our loot real quick. And this has been pretty awesome here. I'm proud of my little character build. Didn't really get that great a loot, but that's okay. Alright guys, well hey, this has been part 2 of Surviving Ultimate Difficulty. On the next one, we're going to be doing, you know, leveling pretty fast here. Oh, we need to go to Fort Icon to finish this off. We're going to be going to Ultimate Difficulty, and we're going to be really putting this character through its paces. We're going to see if we can survive, if everything I've, you know, built up here can thrive, and it should. You know, we're near, you know, max, you know, on most of these things, but we still have a lot of work to do. Cool thing is, good old Inquisitor Creed will always give you a legendary usually, so look at that. 97% fire resistance. Unfortunately, no good for our character. our belt's way better. But still, you never know if you'll get something good. So guys, I will see you on the next one where we tackle Ultimate. This is Nadala, the Witch Hunter, signing out.